Good morning, everyone. We can do a little better than that. I'm sounding so preachy. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
There we go. There we go. I'm honored to be before you. I'm Dr. Marqo Patton, Assistant Professor of Music Business here at the Curve College of Entertainment and Music Business. And I just want to thank Dr. Carr for the opportunity to be before you and just a host of other people who have been a part of this story and my moment in the Jubilee Singers. I'm going to take just a moment to kind of share this story with you. Hopefully you all enjoy that. So we're going to go ahead and get started. From slave songs to Grammys, this is the story of the Fisk Jubilee Singers. So presentation at a glance, what we're going to look at is an overview video. It's by Creative License. It's going to tell the story of the Fisk Jubilee Singers, as well as I'll cap a little bit of brief history. We'll take a look at some themes here, one of which is Jubilee Day. Second is the Yellow Shepherd Prophecy, coming out of the text Dark Midnight When I Rise, the story of the Fisk Jubilee Singers by Andrew Ward, 2000. And then I'll also be talking about another point, key point for us with respect to Steal Away. And this is the story of When God Shines in Oberlin, again coming from the text. We'll take a look at In Bright Mansions and Sacred Journey, two albums that are of acclaim and that are recent, and there's a little bit of a story to them as well, particularly when we talk about the Grammys piece of this. I'll also look at just briefly my experiences with receiving the National Medal of Arts Award in 2008. Also, we'll talk about celebrating Fisk, the album that got us a Grammy Award. I'm so excited about that. Lastly, we'll finish off with the discussion of the 150th anniversary and beyond. We're going to talk about our late director who just passed away as well, Dr. Kwame, his 28 years service and legacy, not only to the singers, to Fisk, but to the world, and really shaping us to be able to minister. So looking forward to getting to that as well. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and start with the film.
At first, they sang their songs only in private. For them, the music was personal. It had been part of their past, shared by their families. These were songs that gave them comfort away from home, in a new place that offered the possibility of a better life. They were just kids, really, who had to grow up in a hurry. But soon, the songs of these former slave children would be shared with the world as art, and they would become known as the Fisk Jubilee Singers.
On this world, put a shoulder off of my cross, take it home into a Jesus, hear that good news, good news, good news, good news, my Lord. I know that good news, my Lord, I know that good news.
The Fisk Jubilee Singers are still touring, still traveling, still sharing their music with the world. Most recently, they were featured in a documentary about the music of the Civil War that aired on PBS stations throughout Tennessee.
Thank you for enjoying that with me. I have to, first of all, and I apologize for not doing this a little earlier, but I bid you Happy Jubilee Day. It's Jubilee Day, you all. This is the day that we celebrate the singers, and currently right now at Fisk, we are just engaging in that hallowed moment, and so just happy to be here to be able to do that. And well done, Doc. I'll tell you as well, it's kind of serendipitous in this moment. The guest speaker that was here for this particular Jubilee Day is speaking today, and it's really cool that she's back again, and so look how God works. All right, and to move on, we're going to just talk a little bit about some key points here. So I call this Jubilee Day. First of all, Fisk was founded in 1866. It's the first university in Nashville, as the video sort of mentioned there. And the Jubilee Singers were founded as a performing ensemble to raise monies for the school. And so they went on their first tour on October 6, 1871. And they went international a few years later. The treasurer, George Leonard White, was the director who recruited and taught students to sing in this classical style, but also to sing a lot of classical repertoire. Of course, at the time, singing in English, the meal of the day, so to speak, would have been religious music. So they were largely singing art songs and religious music. However, minstrel shows were the typical performances, including in or depicting Blacks. The Fisk Jubilee Singers' performances challenged this paradigm. So just want to kind of take a moment to look at history here. As you can see, minstrel show is a white American art form. It's a racist art form that really depicts blacks in debased scenarios in sort of laughable, slapstick kind of ways. And kind of the things that you see here that are troubling are some connections that we have, not just in Nashville, but abroad. Pay attention even to the middle here, where it says the big minstrel Jubilee. A lot of times you would see not only people engaging in that art form around the, I say 19th century, early 19th century is when it started, but even as the Jubilee singers began to make their presence worldwide, you would see that other colleges would take on the name Jubilee Singers. But of course, then you also realize that it became a moment to be brought into what was not originally created for what we espouse, the spirit of the music, the art of the music, the training, the humility of the music. And so we had an opportunity, and of course, many opportunities to overcome that. And the Jubilee Singers did that, not in a way that makes us feel comfortable, particularly the first group. We'll talk a little bit about that. Widely loved, these singers, but they endured hardships while touring. They were kicked out of establishments. As a matter of fact, they were singing for the president one time and kicked out of the hotel that they actually were staying in as they were singing. Traveling sick, they didn't have enough money to be able to sustain themselves as they traveled. And so all kinds of things happened and went awry. A lot of times they were turned down from even being able to transport, to be able to go to different places. And so they made little money in return throughout that whole experience. But however, as named, the group embodied a sacred spirit, sort of the spirit that we saw in the film, later introducing the world to the slave song or work songs, also known as the Negro spiritual. I want to talk about Here, Down by the Riverside. Interesting, you may have heard the spiritual here, and I'll give us a little preview here in just a second. But some interesting conversations here as we talk about Ella Shepherd. She is considered the mother of the group. So Samuela Ella Shepherd was considered the mother, very instrumental in shaping the Jubilee Singers, particularly early on as we begin to sort of establish that presence. Literally, she shaped us as a pianist, arranger, and in the early legacy. However, she was born into slavery. Ella engaged common commands of spying on children. That was kind of a thing at the time where you had slave owners engaging and bribing children to begin to keep tabs on their parents. And so as she had done that, that led to 3-year-old Ella's mother getting threatened and being lied on. And so out of desperation and despair, she runs to the Cumberland River with her baby, and she's getting ready to end it all until an old slave, Mammy Vinnie, also known as Aunt Cherry, overtook traumatized Mother Sarah and baby Ella and delivered a profound prophecy. According to recorded accounts, she said this: "Don't you do it, honey. The Lord has got need of this child." I love this part. She's going to stand before kings and queens one day. And so glad that we didn't drop this gift by the riverside. But yet we took a moment to think about another way that we can leave our burdens down there. And so the song would be in F as we get started with that. And I'm going to just play a little bit of it for you right here. Down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside.
Gonna lay down my sword and shield.
Down by the riverside to study war no more. Study war no more. Gonna study war no more. Gonna study war no more. Study war no. Study war no more. Gonna study war no more. Gonna study war no more.
Gonna lay down my long white robe.
Down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside.
Gonna lay down my long white robe.
Down by the riverside to study war no more. Study war no more, gonna study war no more, gonna study war no more. Study war no. Study war no more, gonna study war no more, gonna study war no more.
Gonna lay down my warring shoe.
Down by the riverside,
down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna lay down my worn shoes down by the riverside to study war no more. Study war no more, gonna study war no more, gonna study war no more, study war no more. Study war no more, gonna study war no more, gonna study war no more. Study war no more, gonna study war no more, gonna study war no more, study war no more. Study war no more, gonna study war no more, gonna study war no more.
Singular thank you to Jordan Holland, Kennedy Hall, and Victoria Sanders. They're all alumni Jubilee singers as well. Thank you all so much. Aren't you glad we can lay our burdens down by the riverside?